Hi guys and welcome to my channel. Today I'm making Serbian lamb soup called a chorba. Chorba or shorba is a kind of soup or a stew found in national cuisines across Balkans, North Africa, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, Central Asia, Middle East and the Indian subcontinent. And here are some different varieties in spelling of the soup, and of course the preparation is gonna be different depending on the country. For the stock, we're gonna need 3 pounds of lamb loin chops or lamb shoulder. To make our stock flavorful, I'm gonna make a spice bag. I'm just gonna use a tea bag and I'm gonna load all my spices there. They're gonna be 2 bay leaves, 1 chili pepper, half a teaspoon of coriander seeds, and half a teaspoon of assorted peppercorns. I'm using 8.5 quart stock pot. I'm gonna load my meat in there and I'm gonna pour 5.5 quarts of cold water and place it on the stove. Right before the boiling point, we need to remove all this foam that forms on top of your stock. Try to remove it as much as you can. And as soon as the boiling process have started, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt and we're gonna add our spice pack. We're gonna close the lid and we're gonna let it cook for 90 minutes until the meat is tender. Let's see what else do we need for our soup. I'm gonna use 4 medium tomatoes. And these ones are not good enough for a salad. They're kind of soft, but they're just gonna be perfect for a soup. So I'm just gonna dice them and then I'm gonna blend them. If you don't want to use fresh tomatoes, you can use the ones from the jar. Place your tomatoes in the blender and blend them into tomato puree. Even the ones that come in a jar, the diced tomatoes, you still have to blend them. Sometimes I've seen chorba prepared with just diced tomatoes, but I think the blended ones are just gonna look better. We also gonna need 3 medium carrots, and I'm gonna show you a fun way to cut the carrot. You cut it and turn it and then cut it and turn it, and this way the pieces are just gonna look fun. Since our soup only gonna have vegetables in it, so they all kind of have to look uniformed. We also gonna need 3 celery stalks. We're gonna cut them in the middle, then we're gonna stack them together and we're gonna cut them on the bias. I mean, you can cut them straight, but using different cuts will complement your soup. We also gonna need 1 large bell pepper, and I'm using the orange one. So we're just gonna slice it, remove the white membranes, and we're gonna cut it the same way. We're just gonna cut it into strips, stack the strips, and cut it on the bias. This way our vegetables are gonna be the same size and they're gonna cook evenly and they're just gonna look very pretty in the soup. We also gonna need 1 large parsnip, and parsnip is a root vegetable that is used a lot, especially in making soups in Eastern Europe. We pretty much add it to all different kinds of soups. It has a taste similar to a potato, but with a little bit of parsley flavor in it. We also gonna need 4 medium potatoes, and I'm using the Yukon Gold potatoes. We're just gonna slice them and put them in the water until they're ready to go in our soup. We also gonna need 2 medium onions, and I have 1 large and 1 small. So I guess the equivalent of 2 is gonna be 2 medium onions. We're just gonna dice those guys fine and set them aside, and we need those for our roux. 90 minutes of cooking time have passed, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take all the meat out and we're gonna let it cool. At this point you can strain your stock, or you could just use the slotted spoon just to remove as much as you can, so I've decided to do that. And then we're gonna add our tomatoes and all vegetables except the onions and bell peppers. So we're gonna add our parsnip, we're gonna add our carrots, and we're gonna add our celery. Then we're gonna close the lid and we're gonna cook it until the vegetables are tender. After 10 minutes of cooking time, we're gonna load our potatoes. And we're gonna close the lid and we're gonna let everything cook for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, we have to make a roux, and that's what's gonna thicken our soup. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons of avocado oil to the skillet and we're gonna start frying the onion. Just to fry the onion until it's slightly brown. And then we're gonna add our bell peppers, and we're just gonna saute those together, onions and bell peppers, and that's when we're gonna start making our roux. Add about 2 tablespoons of flour, and the point here is you need to cook the flour. You need to make sure that all the flour have cooked along with vegetables. Then we're gonna start adding the stock, and the stock I got from the soup, that's just making next to it. And just add couple ladles, mix it and see if it's thick enough, if everything just got combined and the flour have cooked. At this point we're gonna season it. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt and a little bit of crushed black pepper. We're also gonna add 1 teaspoon of Hungarian paprika and half a teaspoon of ground coriander. We're gonna mix it all together, and if you see that your roux is very thick, you can add just 1 more ladle of the stock. Then mix it all together and it's done. So this roux is gonna go into our soup, and it's gonna make our soup so delicious. We're gonna mix it all together, close the lid, and we're gonna deal with meat. Our meat has cooled down, so we just need to debone it and cut it into little portions. It's up to you if you want to cut it into smaller pieces, but I kind of like little chunks. I think it just looks better in the soup, and it is a lamb soup after all, so you've got to have the lamb there. All the vegetables have cooked and our soup is looking so good. You can check the vegetables, make sure they're fork tender, and if they are, we're just gonna load our meat in there, and we almost done, guys. Just one more thing we need to do. We need to do the dressing for our soup. We're gonna use 2 egg yolks, so just the egg yolks, no egg white. You can use egg white for making omelette or making a meringue. Just set it aside. We're just gonna whisk the egg yolks together, and we're gonna add 250 grams, which is approximately 1 cup of sour cream. We're just gonna mix it together. And this dressing is gonna go into our soup after it's been cooked and the heat is completely turned off and the boiling process have stopped. Otherwise, your sour cream will curdle. And in order to ensure that your sour cream will not curdle in your soup, we're gonna add a hot stock to it. Then we're gonna raise the temperature of this mixture so it can go into hot soup. As you can see, our soup is completely cooked, so the heat has been turned off. And it's time for us to pour our dressing in, and it's gonna make our soup so beautiful and so delicious. And at this point, you're gonna taste your soup. You can adjust all your seasonings, so if it needs more salt, add more salt. You can also add a little bit more of the freshly ground black pepper. Mix the soup, taste it again. If you're happy with the way it tastes, then you can serve it but not quite yet, because the last thing that's gonna go into this soup is fresh herbs. And I have a variety of herbs here. I have some cilantro, dill, and parsley. So we're just gonna add those to the soup and mix it. And after that, it's a taste time. I have to tell you, the taste of this soup is so amazing. We finished it in 2 days. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.